Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah. Amma ba'du. Welcome to another program of freedom in Islam. Welcome once again. Now that we embark upon the last third of this blessed month, I think it is important for me to remind myself and to remind you, my respected viewers, of a very important issue in relationship to freedom. Every single day when the sun comes up, before we pray Salatul Fajr, when Allah Azza wa Jal gives each and every individual his soul, we have been given an opportunity to either bring our souls into the freedom of al-khair, good and goodness, or it is another chance and opportunity for people to listen to the whispers of a shaitan, and he brings his soul into destruction. May Allah Azza wa Jal help us. I want to remind myself and I want to remind you in this last third of this blessed month to be of those people who are tenaciously holding on to and protecting your good deeds. In our dunya, if we were to work, and the people we work for, the people we work with, the companies that we work for in our workplace, after putting in 40 hours a week, when we go to get our paycheck, our salary, whether it's after a week, whether it's after a month, is irrelevant. When we go to pick up our money and we find that the people have cheated us for our money, they gave us a third of what we actually earned, they gave us half of it, or they didn't give us any of it. Many of us are going to find a problem with that, and rightly so. It's your haqq, and Islam does not allow people to take other people's monies unjustly, to misappropriate other people's monies. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam informed us that you should give a man his money even before his sweat dries up, showing that this is his haqq. It's not permissible in Islam to steal people's money. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la ta'kulu amwalakum bainakum bil batil. Oh, you believe, do not devour each other's monies in ways that are haram, in ways that are false. They're not the correct ways. The issue here is, just as we will be upset in the dunya for people taking our money and cheating us out of our money, we should be just as upset or even more when it comes to being cheated out of our deeds Yawmul Qiyamah. I'm sorry to say, but many people will come Yawmul Qiyamah, may Allah protect us from being from those individuals, and they would have put forth a lot of deeds in the dunya. But when they come Yawmul Qiyamah, for one reason or another, those deeds are going to be all for naught. They won't avail him anything. And that's because he did something wrong, or he was doing something that he wasn't supposed to be doing, or he did the particular action in a way that it was not supposed to be done. So in this, our first session in the last third of this blessed month, I would like to advise all of you and bring to your attention the danger of being of the people who will come Yawmul Qiyamah, and they made a lot of efforts, and their efforts will not benefit them anything because they did something, or they didn't do something, or some type of characteristic or behavior is attached to them, and as a result of that, they get nothing from Allah Azza wa Jal. The worst thing that we can fall into, the thing that will destroy your deeds quicker and faster and more than anything else, is kufr, as shirk, disbelieving in Allah Azza wa Jal, or falling into polytheism. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in many ayahs of the Quran, وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَعْمَالَهُمْ كَسَرَابٍ بِقِيئَةٍ يَحْسَبُهُ الظَّمْآنُ مَاءً حَتَّى إِذَا جَاءَهُ لَمْ يَجِدْهُ شَيْئًا وَوَجَدَ اللَّهَ عِنْدَهُ فَوَفَّاهُ حِسَابَهُ وَاللَّهُ سَرِيعُ الْحِسَابِ. Verily, those people who disbelieve in Allah Azza wa Jal, their deeds are nothing but a mirage. It's like a mirage. It's not real. It's a mirage. It's an optical illusion. When he comes to the water hole that he thought was an oasis, when he arrives there, he doesn't even find that it's water. It's not even real. He comes there and he'll find Allah there, meaning Yawmul Qiyamah when he dies. And then Allah Azza wa Jal will give him retribution for the deeds that he put forth. And at the top of the list, he'll get retribution and recompense for the kufr. He's going to become a person who will be punished. And Allah is quick to reckon. So this ayat clearly shows and indicates that the one who falls in disbelief, he is in trouble. His deeds are just a mirage. They're not even real. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in another ayat of the Quran, مثل الذين كفروا بربهم أعمالهم كرماد اشتدت به ريح في يوم عاصف لا يقدرون مما كسبوا على الشيء ذلك هو الضلال البعيد. Verily, the example of those people who disbelieve in their Lord is like the example of some ashes that were on a table, on the floor. They were somewhere, ashes. And they were there in a day of Asif, a day of a whirlwind, a day of a big tornado, a strong wind. The wind comes and it just blows away the ashes. There's no way in the world that ashes are going to stand up in front of the force and the power and the might of a tornado. So his deeds are like ashes in front of a tornado, and it just blows it away, just wipes it off of the face of the earth and doesn't leave any remnant of what he put forward. Allah Azza wa Jal said they won't have the ability to get any benefit of what they did. And verily that action of theirs and that condition of theirs is ad-dalal al-ba'id. They are far, far, far away. Many ayahs in this regard. One of the surahs that is an important surah as it relates to the Muslim, because we should be connected to this surah many times during the course of our lives, because it should be read every Friday at least, is Surah Al-Kahf. At the end of Surah Al-Kahf, the last 10 ayat, the person who memorizes them, they will be a protection for him from the Dajjal, as the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In those last 10 ayat, Allah Ta'ala mentioned in one of them, قُلْ هَلْ نُنَبِّئُكُمْ بِالْأَخْسَرِينَ أَعْمَالًا الَّذِينَ ضَلَّ سَعْيُهُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَهُمْ يَحْسَبُونَ أَنَّهُمْ يُحْسِنُونَ صُنْعًا أُولَئِكَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ وَلِقَائِهِ فَحَبِطَتْ أَعْمَالُهُمْ فَلَا نُقِيمُ لَهُمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَزْنًا. Tell them, Ya Muhammad, tell the people, shall I not tell you of those people who are the most lost in terms of their deeds? They are those people who do a lot of works, a lot of deeds, and they actually think that they're doing a good thing, that they're creating and manufacturing a good thing. But they are the people who disbelieved in the ayat of their Lord, and they disbelieved in meeting their Lord. They did not believe in the Quran. They did not believe in Yawm al-Qiyamah. Allah Ta'ala said, as a result of that, habitat a'maluhum. Their deeds will be rendered null and void, and we won't give them any weight, any wazn, Yawm al-Qiyamah. So kufr and shirk is the one thing that would destroy an individual's deeds more and quicker than anything else. Don't make shirk in any shape, form, or fashion. Don't make shirk with Allah Azza wa Jal, and don't fall into kufr by doing magic, by swearing by other than Allah Azza wa Jal. Free your soul and get the true freedom of Al-Islam. As Muslims, we may do different actions and different deeds that also may render our deeds null and void. And they are many. Like this being the month of Sadaqah, the month in which we're going to give more money, fi sabilillah. But when we give the Sadaqah, that's what it should be. It should be Sadaqah fi sabilillah. Sadaqah for the face of Allah, for the pleasure of Allah. Allah has called out to us, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu la tubtilu sadaqatikum bil manni wal adha kalladhi yunfiqu malahu ri'a an-nas wa la yu'minu billahi wal yawmil akhir فمثله كمثل صفوان عليه وابل فتركه فأصابه واسب فمثله كمثل صفوان عليه وابل فتركه صلدا فلا يقدرون على شيء مما كسبوا والله لا يهدي القوم الكافرين. Oh, you believe, do not destroy your sadaqat. Do not render your sadaqat and make your efforts and the monies that you've given, do not make them of no avail, null and void, by spending and you show off. It's like the man, he doesn't believe in Yawm al-Akhir. He doesn't believe in Allah, but he spends in order to show off. He didn't have real iman in Allah. He didn't have real iman in Yawm al-Akhir, the last day. Allah Azza wa Jalla said his example is like the example of a flat rock, a flat, completely flat rock with a flat surface, and it has some dirt on it. On the rock is dirt, and then a torrential rain comes down. Not a drizzle, but a torrential rain, a lot of rain. It comes down and it washes it away, and it doesn't leave any effect. It doesn't leave anything from the dirt, from the deeds. Allah Azza wa Jal said he'll not be able to get any benefit from his deeds and his actions, and Allah does not guide those people who are disbelievers. Allah told us as Muslims, وَلَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّتِي نَقَدَتْ غَزْلَهَا مِنْ بَعْدِ قُوَّةٍ أَنْكَاثًا. Don't be like that lady who she knitted her sweater or a shirt. She was knitting. It took her 2 months, 3 months to crochet or to knit a nice sweater, a nice vest. And then after finishing it, after all of that meticulous work that she took the time out to do what needs to be done, she just took it and she ripped it up. Who's going to do that in their right mind? That example of the Quran and that prohibition of the Quran is telling us, don't be of the people who do a lot of work. The individual is making a lot of Taraweeh prayer. The individual is making more salat during this blessed month. The individual, he's doing this, he's doing that. But there are aspects of his being that will render those deeds null and void. Like uquq al-walidain. The individual who falls into uquq al-walidain, his deeds will be rendered null and void. The person who spends, but he spends in order to make al-mannu or al-adha. He spends in order to say to someone, I gave this to you. Don't you remember? So you owe me a favor. Don't you remember I gave that to you? So you have to give me something back. Since I'm asking you to do this, you should do it because I did this for you in the past. If you did it for the individual, then leave it. Leave it just for Allah. Similar to what happened with Bilal ibn Rabah radiyallahu anhu. Abu Bakr freed Bilal ibn Rabah, as everyone know. And we'll continue that story, inshallah, when we come back. Barakallahu feekum. Welcome back. As we were mentioning, the great companion and the greatest companion out of all of the companions, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. It is reported that after he freed Bilal, later on in their lives, he wanted Bilal to do something for him. And he reminded Bilal, when Bilal said, I'm not going to do that thing, he reminded him in this particular narration, but don't you remember I freed you, as if to say I did a favor for you? So because I did that favor for you, I want you to do this and do that. How can you possibly say no? And Bilal told him, if you freed me for the sake of Allah, then you'll get your reward. But if you free me so that you can say to me one day, don't you remember I freed you, so do this for me, then your reward is going to be lost. And then Abu Bakr radiallahu anhum ajma'een, he took his position and he understood the point. That narration, it doesn't reflect negatively on Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. As I said, it is a narration, a riwayah, tuqal. The point is, that is the meaning of al-mannu. The one who does a favor for someone and then he reproaches him, he reminds him, and he expects him to do something for him as a result of that favor. Even if it's doing something as simple as acknowledging, he wants him, hey, I want you to acknowledge that I gave you this thing or I gave you that thing. So the point is, someone may do something that may render his deeds null and void. Like kufr, as I mentioned. Allah Azza wa Jalla described the non-Muslims of Quraysh who used to worship at the most blessed place on the face of the earth, and that was in Mecca. Allah said about them, وَمَا كَانَ صَلَاتُهُمْ عِنْدَ الْبَيْتِ إِلَّا مُكَاءٌ وَتَصْدِيًا. Their prayer at the Kaaba was nothing but whistling and clapping hands. It wasn't any reward, no ajr, no thawab, because they made shirk with Allah Azza wa Jal. So with that being the case, the Muslim has to be careful. Don't be like that lady who knitted a big sweater. She knitted a fancy hat. And then at the end of the day, she came and she ripped it up. That is the example of the person who does a lot of deeds, but he's doing something in his life that brings his soul to ruin as opposed to bringing it to its freedom. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in the Quran, وَقَدِّمْنَا إِلَى مَا عَمِلُوا مِنْ عَمَلٍ فَجَعَلْنَاهُ هَبَاءً مَنْثُورًا. Yawm al-Qiyamah, we're going to come to their deeds, and we're going to take their deeds, and we're going to make their deeds haba'an manthura. Haba'un manthur, what it means is scattered particles. If you can imagine the sun rays that come through the window, if you take a pillow and you hit the pillow, the particles that rise in the air from the pillow, that is haba'un manthur, scattered particles. It won't be of any avail. It won't be deeds that will be put in the scale and they'll have weight to them. They're light, just something that is going away like that. So my point here in this very first talk, this very first segment, in the last third of this blessed month, it is to remind you, bring your soul to its freedom and don't bring it to its ruin by doing these, and you're doing something wrong in your life, in your Islam, and as a result of that, you won't see and you won't receive any reward for what you've done. And one of the things that we find common in the Muslim world today and amongst Muslims wherever they are is that the person may be fasting, but he's not praying. And I say, wallahi, the person who doesn't pray doesn't have any fast. The Nabi, he says, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, laysa lillahi haja li sawm al-rajul alladhi la yatruku al-amal bil-jahl, aw kama qala sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allah has no need for the fasting of a person who doesn't abandon acting ignorantly. A person who's fasting, but he's not doing the right thing. Rubba sa'im laysa lahu min siyamihi illa al-ju' wal-'atash. It may be that a person who is fasting, the only reward that he gets from his fast is that he makes himself hungry and that he makes himself thirsty. So if a person is fasting but he's not praying, he's sleeping all day, he's fasting and he's not praying, his fast is nothing but whistling and clapping hands. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was in his masjid, and while sitting in his masjid, one of his companions came in. That companion prayed 2 rakat, and he prayed them very quickly without giving them any attention and without concentrating and being disciplined. After completing the 2 rakat and greeting the masjid, he made the taslim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. He came to the Nabi and he said, Assalamu alaikum ya Rasulullah. The Prophet said, Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Go back and pray because you didn't pray. The man went back and he prayed another time the same way without discipline, and he was looking around all over the place. He came and gave salams. The Prophet gave him salams and said, go back and pray. You didn't pray. He went back for a 3rd time. He prayed the same way. Came to the Nabi, gave him salams. The Prophet said, Wa alaikum salam. Go back and pray. You didn't pray. The man said, I don't know how to pray. This is my prayer. So the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught him how to pray, and he told him, take your time in all of the prayer. So the point here is that that man, in his mind, he actually prayed. But in the scales of al-Islam, in the sight of Allah, according to the Sunnah, he didn't pray. So how many people are doing these and they're doing actions? In their minds, this is salat. In my mind, this is fasting. In my mind, this is hajj, this is umrah. In my mind, I'm giving sadaqah. But the money that I'm spending is haram. But in my mind, I think and I call it sadaqah. How many people? So we don't want to be like those people. We don't want to be of those people. At the end of the blessed month of Ramadan, we'll have the Eid al-Fitr. And in the Eid al-Fitr, we slaughter and we have a nice time. We also do the Eid al-Adha at the end of al-Hajj. After the time of the Prophet ﷺ, at his time, a man he slaughtered. And he slaughtered his animal before the Salat of al-Eid for Eid al-Adha. And the correct thing is to slaughter the animal after the Salat. But this man slaughtered the animal before the Salat. He told the Prophet what happened, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When Rasulullah heard that he slaughtered his animal before the correct time, he said, Shatuka shatu lahmin. That animal of yours is just meat for you and your family. But it is not the udhiyah. It is not the one that Allah was wanting from you. The one that Allah made wajib upon you according to many of the ulama of al-Islam. So we have to do our actions the right way. We are not free to just do the deeds and the actions any way that we want to do them. We have to do them in the correct mode. We have to do the correct amount of number. A person can't come and say, I feel so good, I'm going to make Salatul Fajr and I'm going to make it 3 rak'ah or 4 rak'ah or 5 rak'ah. No, you have to do it in the right mode. You have to stick with the number. The pillars of Islam are 5. A man was sitting with Abdullah ibn Umar. Abdullah ibn Umar said to the people, I heard the Prophet say, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Buni al-Islamu ala khamsin, shahadati la ilaha illallah, wa Muhammad Rasulullah, wa iqamu as-salat wa ita'i az-zakat, wa sawm Ramadan wa hijj al-bayt. The Prophet said Islam has been built upon 5 pillars. The shahada la ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, establish the salat, giving zakat, fasting Ramadan, and going to Hajj. A man in the audience, he said, what about jihad? What about jihad? As if to say jihad is number 6. What about jihad? Abdullah ibn Umar said, al-jihad is good, it's from our religion. But what I told you was what the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. 5. Don't you come with number 6, and then another person comes with 7, then another one comes with 8. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, he told this community, and he told everybody from amongst us, قف حيث وقف القوم. Stop where the companions stopped. اتبعوا ولا تبتدعوا لقد كفيتم. Follow what has been given to you and don't introduce anything new in the religion, because what has been left for you is more than enough. So in this month and for the duration of our lives, let us struggle and strive to be of those people who do the deeds and the actions, and we make itqan, precision, and we do it in a perfect manner. But even more important, or just as important, we do it in a way that has been legislated, and we try to avoid those other many issues that if a person were to do those things, it would render his deeds null and void. The Prophet came out and he asked his companions, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, atadruna man al-muflis? Do you people know who the bankrupt person is? They said, al-muflisu fina ya Rasulullah man la mala lahu wa la mata'. He is the one who doesn't have any money and he doesn't have any property. The poor person, miskin, faqir, he doesn't have any money and he doesn't have any property. The Prophet told them, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-muflisu min ummati alladhi ya'ti yawm al-qiyamah bi salatin wa zakatin wa sawmin wa hajjin wa qad daraba hadha wa shatama hadha wa sabba hadha wa akala mal hadha wa qathafa hadha. And he went on and on and on. He said the bankrupt person from this ummah is the individual who will come yawm al-qiyamah with a lot of salat, with a lot of zakat, with a lot of fasting, with a lot of hajj. But he hit that person. He spilt his blood. He cursed that person. He accused that lady unjustly. He took this one's money. As a result of that, these people will take from his hasanat. The fast that he did during the blessed month, the salat of Taraweeh that he did all of that stuff and he made all of that effort. But because he oppressed people, they're going to take from his hasanat, whether it was in Ramadan or outside of Ramadan, from all of his efforts. They're going to take from his hasanat. And then he owes so many people that when his hasanat are exhausted and he doesn't have any more hasanat, but there's still people who have a right over him, their bad deeds will be thrown on him. And then he will be thrown in the hellfire. So there are many things that people can do that will cause their deeds to be rendered null and void. They may do things to other people, and as a result of that, those other people get their haqq. Or they may do the ibadah and they don't do it in the right way. The Prophet, he mentioned, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, asraqu rajul alladhi yasraqu min salatihi la yatimmu raku'aha wa la yasjudaha. He said the biggest thief in my community is not the thief who steals from these companies as the CEO of these banks do, and Enron and all of these other companies. They are thieves and they steal. He said, but the biggest thief is the one who steals from his prayer. He doesn't complete the bowing, the ruku'. He doesn't complete the sajda. When he bows and he comes right up. When he bows, he doesn't go all the way down. When he bows like the mutakabbirin and the mustakbirin from the non-Muslims. So his deed will not be accepted Yawm al-Qiyamah because he didn't do it the correct way. He did not do it the correct way. Or because he oppressed people. Or because he fell into some crime or some sin. I give you an example. Something that's common during our time is for a person to be negligent about the salat. No salat, no deeds. Inshallah ta'ala, we hope to see you in tomorrow's episode. May Allah bless you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.